What do you see a difference in the fashion industry from then to now?
It's completely different. I mean, I did Fashion Week, it started in 1993. And ran it for 20 years, and then it moved around, and I was out of it. It was about organizing, centralizing, modernizing shows. It was about reaching out to the international buyers and press that came, and they came to a centralized location so that they could experience and see what was happening in America, and it put the New York and American designers on the world map. Now, Fashion Week is scattered all over the place. There's no centralized venue. There's no sense of organization about it. I mean, anybody can just do a show and say they're at New York Fashion Week anywhere. There's no singular voice for it. And the whole scene has changed. You know, from it being this extraordinary media event and marketing opportunity, now Fashion Week is this. It's the thing in your hand, and that's what dictates everything. And that's how everything's communicated. And we didn't have this when I started it. I mean, you know, it's gonna sound like that we were doing it when they were covered wagons, but it was a very different world. And the whole retail, I mean, I remember the rush of being in the tents, and anybody who showed there and came to it was like, oh my God, I'm in the tents. You know, it's like being at Studio 54. You know, if you weren't there, it's hard to really appreciate what it felt like. But you were there and you'd look at it and the audience would say, there's the whole Saks Fifth Avenue team, there's the Bergdorf team, there's the Nordstrom team, there's Elle, there's Over Vogue, there's the Harper's Bazaar, there's the Glamour team, it's not like that anymore. I mean, you barely see a key retailer at some of these shows. You barely see retail happening. I mean, that's another subject we should talk about. My heart broke today. We went into Macy's, the last day of the store closing, that extraordinary winemaker space. I did an event there with you guys several years back when my first book came out, book signing with the city and with lots of people and that beautiful eagle and the organs. I mean, to see everything marked down 60% with another 30 off, you know, piles of stuff everywhere. It was literally brought me to tears. I mean, that's what's happening to retail.
So my question for you is,
so it's a different scenario right now, and one that it's a new territory to discover and figure out how to work with.
so with your experience in fashion and the history that you bring to fashion, how do you feel like new designers that are coming up in the industry should navigate?
Okay, new designers are still the lifeblood of the industry. No matter what's going on, the one question everybody asks is, who's new? Who's out there, who's new? But I mean, I can't say I have the answers, but, you know, again, going back to this, you know, you are a generation of new designers that are exploring the new technology. I mean, whether it's AI and how you're doing things, whether it's, you know, like I said, the stores are going, so you need to find other ways to get your clothing out in front of people. Whether it's, you know, TikTok and Instagram, I mean, that's how everybody's buying. You know, we went from big department stores to buying on this in the middle of the night. You know, and you have to figure out how to create a brand and an image and something that snaps and catches people's attention, that goes viral, that makes noise and that people want to follow and want to buy. There's all, you know, you've got to be the creative pioneers in this new era of fashion and retail. I mean, if you saw me last night, I was wearing a vest with the black wings on it. That was designed by an 8-year-old boy who's selling like crazy on the internet. Couture to the max, Max Alexander. You know, I've become his fashion fairy godmother. But, you know, it's doing something clever and getting people's attention. You gotta find your niche. And you gotta stand out. Do something that is so you and nobody else.
Speaking of the new generation of fashion icons, Ms. Shishi, you have been doing some amazing things, and for you to be a Philadelphia native, we're so proud of you. You have done some amazing things. No, I'm serious. When it comes to the craftsmanship, when it comes to the partnerships you rely on, when it comes to the clients you rely on, you've been able to maneuver this industry that's difficult to break. So my question to you is how would you say you made that happen for yourself?
First of all, thank you. That was so sweet. Kevin's known me since I was a child. So has Angela and Carrie. I think I just jumped out the window. Like there's no rules to being a part of the new age at all. And to Fred's point, it's not the same now. So if you're not a disruptor, it's kind of like no one's really paying attention to you. So with everything that I've done, I've had major support from my family and friends, and I just, hopped on a plane with, not much but my luggage and my outfits, and I went out to Paris at a young age and just no invites to any shows, and I just was outside taking pictures and creating content at a very early age. So I really just jumped.
I love that. And my next question, how did you turn your passion into a viable business for yourself? Once you knew it was doing something for you.
I am like first generation entrepreneur, so it was very hard to navigate turning it into a business. So I started a nonprofit that actually helps creatives with that, and the younger creatives and people like photographers, models, stylists, anybody, because you don't know the first thing about registering your business and, a W-9 and being a 1099 contractor and like all of these things. So I really took my time and reached out to a lot of mentors, like a lot of people, and I asked so many questions. I don't care where I'm at, outspoken, asking every single question because I need to figure out what's going on.
I love that. Where do you see fashion going? Just overall.
That's such a deep question, Kevin. I think fashion is going in a direction of just more self-expression. I don't think there's like a way to design anymore. There's no 1, 2, 3 ABC steps anymore. Like it's really just about self-identifying and pushing the envelope and really just being like different. And that's what's gonna sell. The content being different, the construction really being able to compete with the big five, and that's really where it's going to me.
I feel like that's so important for these designers to hear. Because for many years, people were like, oh, you have to be sellable, sellable, sellable. So people were like sacrificing their creativity in order to succeed from a retail perspective, but then they were losing their identity. So that's really important. Thank you so much for that. Miss Angela Blue, who's poured into so many different entrepreneurs. Go. And helped them with their businesses and even helped some up and coming designers get picked up in major retailers. So tell me what that journey was like back then and what you think that journey is like now for entrepreneurs.
Well, I completely understand and resonate with Freud in regard to the 10th of Bryant Park because I was one of those who was able to attend during that time period. And when you think about Fashion Week and what happens right now is also Market Week. So we have trade shows that happen, and the purpose of that is to go there. You put your clothes out, it's at wholesale, and buyers come, and everything was done to see it 6 months in advance in order, and social media changed it. Social media changed how you market and promote and sell, and it's just not about getting into a store and meeting with a buyer. It's not the cold calls, it's just a completely different strategy. And I think for a lot of brands now, really just have to understand who is your target and what is your goal for your line and how you would like to sell. And once you understand your target client and market, then you can set the right price to know how you're targeting them. Some, yes, easily click and buy right off of social media. Others that sell a lot sell more with just being that face to face. Retail and in the stores are not for everyone. One line works better for some. So you have to really be able to understand the difference in them and understand who you're targeting so you know how to move forward and which direction you're going with that. So those things, it really has changed.
You know, I mean, I just remember in the time period with doing the showroom and it being about making those calls and having the appointments and going in and getting designers in. There's still at this time period things like I had everyone do press kits, and things like press kits are so important. But it's so interesting to see how many people who, whether you're new compared to those who've been in the business for longer, who still didn't even have a press kit or understand the purpose of why you should be packaged and branded properly. You know, so those kind of things are still important, you know, to have.
Absolutely. So my next question for you is, what would you say are some of the biggest pitfalls for entrepreneurs looking to get picked up by big box retailers, not understanding the risks that are involved, and some of the things that you may have experienced yourself?
Most aren't ready for volume. So if you're gonna put yourself out there, if you're gonna, even what we tell designers showing with Philly Fashion Week, make sure that your website is up to speed. You're on Instagram, but if your traffic is going from Instagram to your website and someone goes to your site to click and buy, when they go, does everything already look sold out on your site? Is there enough in that quantity of what you have there on the site? Do you know what is your lead time in terms of your production? Are you sewing things by yourself? Do you have a manufacturer? How is your sourcing going? If you land an order and then you can't produce it, you're going to ruin that opportunity and that relationship. If you land an order and you don't understand the importance of quality control, checking your items and understanding your patterning and fit modeling and things of that sort. I've dealt with designers that I got them into a store, but the follow-up order that they didn't check it. And then the store gets it, and not one customer could fit anything in that collection. What happens, you know, in that? You're ruining your name, you know, with that. So it's being prepared. If you're underpricing and you don't know the right way to price your pieces, you're going to lose money, you know? So you're going to end up putting out more money because now if you're going into big box and you're going department store, they're not paying you up front, like what we call the mom and pops or the smaller stores. They're going to pay you when your orders having sales terms agreements. Sales terms agreements protect you. You know, understanding your legal. What is those terms that happen? You know, if someone's going to go and do a return, or like the big box stores do chargebacks. So you understand that they make an order. It could be $10,000, $20,000 order. You're fronting that to make it. And if they don't sell all of it, they can go ahead and say, okay, we didn't use this. We're just going to give this part back. Right? So you have to be ready for what those big boxes that you're getting ready to step into, if they're right for you. If not, as a small business, it can crush you. And a lot of designers think, oh, I want to be in department stores and I want to go big. And the other thing that happens too is if you've started out and you have relationships with a lot of the smaller stores and you're already supplying them, and then you get the opportunity for the department store and that volume kicks up, what can also happen is you can lose all your smaller stores because all your focus and all your time and all your resources are being put in to satisfying Nordstrom, satisfying Saks. I know of a line now, for Schwitt. And they had 30 smaller stores. And they went through, they got the big Nordstrom order in tour, lost all 30. We worked on getting them smaller stores back. Nordstrom increased. It went again, oh, it's online, it's more in boxes. They lost the next set again. And now they want me to come back to try to then get them back again.
Yep.
But you have these relationships that the smaller stores that will pay you up front, they're not always going to wait around for you. It's going to be harder to come back and approach them, you know, and build those relationships back up again. So it's, you know, just understanding.
Absolutely. Fran had a rebuttal for something else.
No, it's not a rebuttal, but what's going on in big retail stores now is quite disastrous. There's a huge scandal in the industry about Saks Fifth Avenue not paying its vendors, and they haven't been paying them for over a year. And they just sent out a letter to all the vendors that they owe money to, explaining what they're doing and how they're thanking them for staying with them. Although they're asking designers and companies to basically be the bank for for these retail stores. It's outrageous. The industry is up in arms. And they've established that their payment plan would be over the next 18 months, not starting till like the end of 2025, will they start to pay in incremental paybacks to the designers. And these are companies of all scales that cannot afford to stay in business selling companies like Saks Fifth Avenue. Saks is now Saks Global and now owns Neiman Marcus and Bergdorf Goodman. They somehow had enough money to buy those companies over $2 billion, but they're not paying their vendors. And they said that they're going to eliminate like 35 to 40 vendors in the store, and they're thanking the ones that are staying with them. It's outrageous. They're not getting any new merchandise in the store. So, I mean, that's not the pathway forward. You know, I mean, like I talked about Macy's closing, Neiman Marcus in Dallas, its flagship store, one of the most iconic stores in America, closing. I mean, it's quite frightening. So figure out the other ways, the clever way. Be in his store, be in Maison, and send all your pals there. You know, that's what you need to do. And to start off on businesses early on, make sure you have a lawyer. You know, because the thing you said about the contracts, like their payment terms, Saks is ignoring all of that. And a lot of people are trying to figure out class action suits or how to sue the stores. You know, you need a lawyer before you get in trouble. You know, not when you start at the beginning, make sure everything's buttoned up and kosher, you know, and also financing. This industry sucks money out of you. You go through money like nobody's business. Get all your friends, all the banks, all the places and people that can believe in you and be on your team. You need the money.
And to your point, that is one of the reasons why we started Maison Philly Fashion, is to really help designers scale their businesses. Designers walk away with the mass majority of their stuff. And that's a huge part of helping the local designers scale their businesses up. It's really important that we work together as a community. Oftentimes people feel like, oh, I have to do it on my own. I have to make it on my own. And we want you to know that you do have community here with Philly Fashion Week and Maison Philly Fashion Week. And we want you to call manufacturers and Maison Philly Fashion Week home as well, because we are truly here for you. So with that, I'm going to go to the director of my life economy. So my question for you is, some of the designers locally or entrepreneurs, period, are looking for support from the city. And there are oftentimes grants and different things that are available to them, but oftentimes they don't know about it. So first, I want you to speak about some of the opportunities that are available for entrepreneurs locally, and then speak about how we're going to get the word out for more entrepreneurs to have access to that.
Excuse me. I think that's a very big issue with any entrepreneur sector, but especially the creative economy industry. Now, opportunities that are based out of the Department of Commerce are heavily based on startups, loan application, grant allocation, things like that. So we have the Office of Business Services, where you can go onto our website and you can literally search for grants or anything specific to, I guess, like fabric, like fabric sourcing, things of that nature. So let me be clear. My background is in nighttime economy, and I kind of researched things, what fashion entrepreneurs would need. So on my way over here, of course, business services, we have the Office of Economic Opportunity, which helps minorities, women, and disabled entrepreneurs get grants, get education on government contracts and things like that for like uniform production, for like events. So besides that, just going to the Department of Commerce's website and going all the way to the bottom and hitting that contact us, you'll be able to send your specific email, or we also have a service line. You can call that and speak to somebody that's a human being to get those questions answered. But to speak on that, I think it's the government has to catch up with the times. It's very hard to disseminate the information that is needed to entrepreneurs as far as loans and things like that if we're still using, something like a blog. A blog is so, 2000s. Now people are on social media, people are on TikTok. So I think it's the government catching up with the times so that we can actually get that information out there. But yeah, like I would say, just reach out to the Department of Commerce. We are so people forward and people connected. Like we're mostly or mainly the most personable department in local Philly or in local Philly government. So it's just yeah, reaching out, calling that number, and then we also have a creative economy department where they specifically help on this. Our creative director Sophie Hang, she puts on programs, she puts on workshops and things like that. So those ways entrepreneurs can get that information. And also before I end, we also have in March, which is the Arts Education Month, where we put on a lot of workshops, we put on a lot of programming to help businesses be aware of those loans and those grants that they can get. You can get connected with PIDC, which helps with low interest rates on loans. It also helps with real estate assistance. So if you're ready to, jump into your brick and mortar, then they can help you with that with site location. It's a plethora of things that these entrepreneurs can get, but it's like you said, it's kind of a gateway and a barrier to get this information out to our citizens and our entrepreneurs, which is the backbone of our city. In these type of sectors like creative economy and nighttime economy is so heavily based on entrepreneurs making the wave because those are the ones that's really doing the businesses. Big market businesses aren't starting a nightclub or they're not starting a fashion incubator on your block. So it's like we have to support these entrepreneurs and make sure that they're getting this education so that they can thrive and revitalize our city.
Absolutely.
Apply for it all before Elon Musk finds out about it.
Yes, definitely do that.
Yes. I wanted to one thank the Department of Commerce for what you guys are doing. We are also affiliated with the Youth Entrepreneurship
Yep,
March as
yes.
well. Last year we did a fashion show with all of our Next Up Student Design Competition designers showcased and got paid to showcase for that event. So we'll be doing that again this year as well. So it's just a number of different things and opportunities that are available for youth and also entrepreneurs. And one of our designers that just showcased is 17 years old, and he did 500,000 last year. So it's just one of those things where you as an entrepreneur have to find out what makes sense for you as an entrepreneur. You have to dive into it, and then you also have to utilize your free platforms. Be innovative in the way you market and promote yourself. Literally, you can go on TikTok. Once you go TikTok live, you're live across the platform. Now, there's people that follow you. So if you want to curate a fashion show somewhere dope in the city of Philadelphia that nobody knows about, and it's just the models walking, but it's live and people are tuning in, like it's those type of situations that you can utilize to be innovative and be a dope entrepreneur and be different than the next person. Because you have to be, there's so many designers in the world, you have to be a step above everybody else because it's a business. And you also have to have brand identity. It's a huge thing, right? I am tired of seeing designers create the same things. Designers that are getting recognized are designers that are like breaking the mold and creating new innovative styles and innovative fabrications and creating like different things that are so uniquely them. So when you see it in a magazine or you see it in an editorial, you can say, oh, that's this person. For instance, Iris and these pink lips. Every time I see her work, I know it's hers. You know what I'm saying? If somebody else does it, they get called out online because their fans will be like, that's hers. We know that's hers. We've seen that happen before. We also want you to protect yourself. So what you say, brand identity is huge. It's really, really huge. So make sure you invest in your brand and you invest in your brand identity and what it is that you're trying to speak out to the world from a designer's perspective or from your perspective. Because, being a designer is not singular. Everybody's journey is different. But you have to figure out what makes the most sense for you as an entrepreneur.
Can I make one suggestion to you guys? When you put the designers' names up on the screen, can you put their Instagram and website address on as well? So when everybody sees their name, they can instantly either take a picture and have the Instagram and have their website so that they can follow it easier.
Totally.
I wanted to piggyback what you said about protecting yourself. Something that I really struggled with in the beginning of my career was protecting my IP, which is your intellectual property. And to Fern's point, I needed a lawyer. So I did expense that early on in my career, just having a lawyer, being able to comprehend the contracts and being able to protect my IP, because there's a lot of times where you'll see your idea, especially if you're very active on social media. Somebody's watching you. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. And then next thing you know, you wake up and then one of the big names might be doing it, or one of the fast fashion brands are doing it, and you're like, am I tripping? But like, no, you're not, because they pay attention to those things and what's happening. So I wanted to just point out being able to protect your IP, making sure you understand your trademarks and your patents and things like that. So there's more of a business behind it. And I pointed this out to the Anacoma friends yesterday, right? It's just very important. If you're going to pay homage to any of these big names, let's dig deep into the archives. Let's really do research. Let's watch a lot of these documentaries that are available, because as young designers, we do want to create what is popular as well, but we want to be ourselves. So I think that if you're going to reference something, like, let's get into the real references, like the history of those brands and what may inspire you about your favorite brand versus just utilizing someone else's logos and things like that. So I just wanted to point it out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. If there was one final thing that you wanted to pour into an entrepreneur, these designers, what would that one thing be?
Well, the advice that I've been giving my entire career, and we're talking close to 5 decades of it, when people say, what's the most important thing? And it's to be nice. Just be nice and be kind. Nobody wants to work with people that think they're privileged or more special or have an attitude or they're a diva and it's going to get more attention. You spend a lot of time with people you work with, and just be nice. It goes a far, long way.
I agree to being nice. I also think that, like, really seriously be nice, because this world, and especially fashion, it's known for not being nice. So I definitely be nice. People remember the first time they meet you. So this is very important. They remember what you were wearing, especially if you're a designer. Wear your brand. I pointed this out to someone yesterday. He didn't have his brand on when he walked the final runway, and I felt as though he should have been representing his brand instead of a bigger name, you know? But I would say continue to, like, be yourself is just so cliche, but like truly dig into what your inspirations are, where you come from, what's motivating you to create these designs, and starting a solid business. And sometimes that takes a while. You might want to just pop out with designs tomorrow, but maybe the full picture is not ready. Maybe your website's not ready. Maybe, you know, your trademarks and things aren't ready. Maybe your name is not ready to be put out there. Maybe you're not ready to enter into a certain market. Like, you just research is really my advice.
Want to be nice? I would say protect your relationships. Your relationships, keep those. Those are what's going to help you propel forward. It's going to help you in that time of need, when you need to make that call. Protect your relationships. Stay passionate, because this isn't easy. And then being it for many years, you have to be passionate about it and love it. You might hate it at a point, but stay passionate. And also keep learning. Some you get to a point, you develop, something happens, you pop off, you get big, and maybe you think you're at a point that there's something you don't need to learn. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and remember your why. And who needs you? Who needs your line? There's thousands and thousands of creatives and designers. Why you? You have to understand and know you and why you.
I think these ladies hit great points. You know, be nice, protect your brand, and you know, have a thirst for knowledge. But I would say, you know, never give up. You know, there's so many barriers when you're an entrepreneur. There's so many barriers when you're a creative. People don't take you seriously. People think that you know, this person is frivolous. Do not give up. be thirsty to succeed. Because I will tell you, I've ran nightclubs for 10 years in Philadelphia, and I've run into so many barriers where it's like you can only have you. And then once you have you, people will start surrounding you. You'll start getting that support system. You'll start building that network. And also network. Be at all the events. If you have a brand, that brand should be in front of somebody's face. That brand should be in front of, because my background is nighttime and nightlife. I'm always going to talk about the club. You know, be in the club, be that pop out person that people want to be around. But most importantly, just don't give up.
To that point, I do an interview series in New York at the 92nd Street Y. It's a big cultural institution. And over the last 15 years, I've interviewed over 65 the most important fashion designers and industry professionals. And there are 2 books out from that series that you can buy. But when he was saying that, it made me think of my interview with Marc Jacobs. And Marc, we got to a point where he talked about the 3rd time the company went bankrupt. And they had to figure out what they were going to do. And I looked at him and I said, the 3rd time you went bankrupt, how do you keep getting the energy to keep going forward? I said, are you still working with the same lawyers? And he goes, yeah, we still have the same lawyers. But people like Marc, those are, think of the most successful designer. He's been bankrupt 3 different times in their business and his business partners. I mean, it happens to the best of them. And you just have to keep going on and regroup and start again and figure it out. And, the sky's the limit. It's an industry when you succeed, there's nothing better, but it's not easy. And to your point about passion, I mean, you have to really love every minute of what you're doing. And you really have to understand the time you spend doing it, what it costs, and how to make a return on it. You're not a charity. You're in it to make money and business. A lot of designers they put stuff together. They have no idea how many hours they spent doing it, how much fabric costs to do it, how much the trim costs to do it, how much packaging costs. All of that stuff you have to have. And complete line sheets. What are the sizes? What are the prices? And I've worked with so many designers around the world, and I'm like, oh, who is this going to fit? You can't measure me. I want to buy the size that exists. What are the care labels? Like, are you sustainable? That's another point which we didn't talk about today. It's probably one of the most hot topic subjects in the whole fashion industry and the world. Make that part of your mantra. Make that part of your business. It's a selling point, but it's also an important point to help the world and do what you're doing. So there's so many things you can do to bring into that to keep your business functioning and going and being creative.
At my final note would be, if you are not a multi-million-dollar brand, stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. One of the biggest things I see all the time is people just like, even though we do Fashion Week and we want people to pump out collections, pumping out collections when you don't have the resources. It's so unnecessary, right? One of the biggest things I feel like the way the industry is moving, our mind should shift in the way we operate our businesses. So you produce a collection, one, right? And then throughout a season list, right? And then you continue to produce throughout the year and launch micro collections as a part of that collection. Right. You have to be more innovative in the way you operate your business. And that's going to help you with longevity. And that's going to help you with financing. That's going to help you be smarter in the way you operate your business. And it gives you the opportunity to market and promote your brand more heavily because you can focus on one collection at a time. So stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. It's a huge thing. Another thing is being smart in the way you design. Oftentimes, people design for strictly size 2-4, right? What is a way you can design that, as human beings do, their weight fluctuates? How can you create something for me that I can then wear when I gain a couple pounds? Is there a zipper somewhere that's invisible that can unzip, and then there's pleats, and then boom, I'm fabulous, and it's a whole nother outfit, but it's one single look that is really innovative. So you just have to think creatively in the way you market to your customer. So those are a couple things that I want you to just take away from this experience and really operate in a way that's just smarter and more innovative and less risky when you return on investment. Yes? So I want to thank all of our panelists today. Thank you so much. And an extra special applause to Arm Alice, who's been a huge supporter to Philly Fashion Week since 2013. It's huge to say I sent a DM and she responded, and then an email was made, and then a phone call happened, and then we've been connected ever since. So I thank you for your support. I thank you for understanding that fashion is just not about the top names in the industry. And I want the industry to know that there's designers across the US that have stories to be told, that have brands to be seen. And you have to be innovative. And oftentimes people want to move to New York and want to make it. You have to climb to the top. So make it in your city, make a name where you are. If you live in LA, if you live in Texas, if you live, like wherever it is that you live, make a name where you are, where you don't have that much competitiveness, and you can literally scale your way up. And then you can go to New York and people know, oh, I heard about this person. You know what I'm saying? So be more innovative and not just, I have to move to New York and then start working my way through there. You know what I mean? Of course, New York is the mecca of fashion. That is where eventually you may want to become or aspire to be. But you have to make where you are home and utilize that to scale your businesses to a whole nother level. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. We look forward to your shows tonight, the Design Pursuit shows. We thank you so much. And thank all of our panelists one more time. And Shishi, thank you so much. And one of the things I want to say about you from a personal standpoint is you inspire me as well. You are truly amazing. You've done some amazing
Yes, I
dynamic
interned
things.
for Philly Fashion Week. Kevin's forgetting to say this.
Yes, she interned for Philly Fashion Week. So interns, you never know who they end up. But make connections. One of the biggest things I took away from being in this industry, I launched Philly Fashion Week when I was just 19 years old with no money and no real connections, right? I built a community. And out of that community, we came together to build something. And we knew it was going to be hard work, but you have to build the infrastructure. And even when we started, people were like, oh, y'all can't do Fashion Week. Y'all don't have money. Y'all not this, y'all not that. Okay, I'm creating a table that most people don't have access to elsewhere, so we're going to create it here. We have to build the infrastructure here. So we have to build more community. We have to build more relationships. And even though people have done us dirty over the years, people have called us names, done things, and I do not retaliate. I don't acknowledge it because at the end of the day, even if that person ends up in a place that you need, if I retaliated, they're going to remember my retaliation. That would be that to me. So you have to remember those type of relationships and stay humble. And just sometimes you have to just be nice and say, all right, thank you so much. Because I always greet everybody with a smile. I typically stay away from drama. And those of you who know me, I always greet you with a smile. I'm always nice. And the reason why that is because people remember you and how you make them feel. And I feel like that's what continues to help us be blessed. So I want you to be blessed in that way as well. So I thank you guys so much. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight.